Hi everybody, Jazz here. I just wanted to post a video of my journey, what I went through to get my breast reduction. So it is a little bit of a long story, but I hope you bear with me, okay? So just to introduce myself a little bit, I'm from Miami, I'm Puerto Rican. My favorite color is red. But with the process of my surgery, so I grew up very rough life. In Florida. Uh, I stayed there until I was about 16, moving back and forth between Florida and South Carolina due to divorce. Growing up in school was easy up till fifth grade. I was your average, whatever, fifth grader, flat chested. Come sixth grade, I was in South Carolina at that time, and I was there for 2 months until I had to be transferred back to Florida. When I moved to Florida, I was also going through puberty in the sixth grade. And when I went through puberty, it wasn't great at all. In the sixth grade, I went from flat chested to a D cup. And when I tell you that was not the best change that could have ever happened to me, I'm being totally honest. Because at that time, back then, having breasts a little larger than normal meant that you were obese. People didn't take kindly to obesity back then if you were considered obese. But in my case, because my shirt stuck out a little further than it was supposed to, I was considered fat. I was teased and poked and prodded, and rocks were thrown at, and kids were just very cruel. Um, I was being noticed by a totally just way off crowd, which were the outcasts. And they kind of took me in, and I was cool with them. I was a tomboy at the time, but I had now breasts. So it was very weird that all I hung out with were guys. It was middle school. So sixth and seventh grade kind of wasn't very fun. I did have my sister who was with me. She's a year younger than I am. She was beautiful and skinny and popular with everybody, guys, girls, whoever. And I admired her a lot, but I couldn't be like her because of these breasts. So, sixth and seventh grade, I was bullied and teased and whatever, and called fat or obese, even by the school. They measure your height and weight or whatever. They considered me obese starting in the seventh grade. But in eighth grade, it got even harder because then I went up to a double D. Life was just supposed to be getting started for me because eighth grade is when you make all your friends, and you know, high school is about to start and high school is a big thing. 2 months before my eighth grade graduation, I had to move because um, the paternal side that was raising me got remarried, and we had to live in a different side of town, which was completely different from where I was growing up at the time, which was a very gang related and just gated schools, ID badges, police officers, security, whatever you name it, it was there. We moved to a very different cultured city, and it was cool. Like, I liked the environment, it was a lot safer, but I didn't know anybody. My sister didn't know anybody. She went to a different school, and at that time, she then moved up to South Carolina with my mother, and I stayed down with my paternal side. I went through the eighth grade at this new school by myself, and people didn't know me, so they decided I was a new piece of meat that they could, pick on, and, I just looked different to them, even though I was like them. And it wasn't very fun at all. So finally, this 2 months go by, and I graduate with a class that I didn't even know. Start high school at this new city, and Again, I was an outcast, didn't have much friends, and my boobs were still big. They were double D's. And so, ninth grade, people are different now. You know, a lot of people have gone through puberty already at this time. And so, a lot more people were, developing. So, I didn't feel alone, except at the rapidly increasing rate that my breasts were growing was not good. By the end of freshman year, I had become just a little bit bigger again. So now I'm at a triple D. Sophomore year was about to start. So sophomore year, a lot of things were going down, and I every summer I go to South Carolina to visit my mom and my sister. That summer, just strange things happened. Found out that I was being raised by the wrong paternal unit. There was a lot of confusion, and I came back down, got my stuff, and moved back up to South Carolina. So that was at the end of sophomore year. So junior year, I'm starting a new school yet again. So junior year, this is my eighth school that I've been transferred to already within the span of kindergarten to junior year. 8 schools. Rapidly increasing breast and just no friends, like no steady relationship, nothing. My sister had already been living up here for the couple years already, and she's made her following. She's popular, she's beautiful, and I'm just the new kid in town. From back in my elementary school days when I was living in South Carolina, there were a couple friends that I could, call up and, hey, remember me? I'm back. It's high school now. Nobody freaking cares. High school was a little bit rough starting out because I was the newbie, so I sat at lunch by myself or I sat with my sister, her friends. So I tried to make friends in some of my classes. There was 8 periods, so 8 chances for friends. Kind of made some friends about halfway through the year. People were recognizing me for the wrong reasons. And again, like in my old school, I was being poked and prodded, teased and taunted. But there was no bullying being done, but there was bullying being done, just they didn't know they were doing it. Words do hurt, even if that person goes along with the punches. Deep down, that stirs up depression and insecurity. With my problem, there's nothing I could do about it. There's no changing my rapid increases on my body. That's nothing I can help. People would just talk about them to my face behind my back, just ask me weird questions, or I felt like I had a sign on my forehead, just a sign on my forehead that said free grabs or touch boobs or grab me for free. People would just walk up to me, hey Jazz, hey boobs, because that's the first thing you notice about me. That doesn't define me. Nobody understood that. And really, in my situation, I was under 5 feet tall. I only weighed 130 pounds, and I had these big boobs, and I'm just this little Puerto Rican girl. I was different. I wasn't like everybody else. And that was my junior year. Come summer of senior year, I took my senior pictures, and I decided I wanted to try something. And it kind of stuck. After we took senior pictures, I tried being bulimic. And it was kind of easy for me because nobody was really around. My sister had her friends, so she was never really home, and she had her boyfriend. And my mom always worked kind of late. So at home, I was usually by myself, no friends. And I really was desperate to fit in a beautiful prom dress that I couldn't even afford at the time. And so I then became bulimic. And then going home and running the shower and just forcing myself to puke and do these things to my body was unhealthy, and I do regret it. But at the time I was young and stupid and desperate. I wanted to be pretty, and I didn't feel pretty at all. And I was so insecure and depressed and scared, and just I didn't know what to do, so I panicked and I did this, and to fit into this prom dress that only cost me $60, and it wasn't even like everybody else's. It was a freaking like bridesmaid's dress or something, and I hated it. but I fit into it. And so that's how my senior year went, and still being poked and prodded, and but being bulimic only helped my stomach size, not my breast size. So it didn't even change anything. I just made myself sick for no reason. So I tried very hard to stop, and it took me a while to stop. But for senior year, with the whole parental unit, paternal side, um, being just an incorrect puzzle. The day that I was asked out to prom was like 2 weeks after my birthday, my 18th birthday. And I was so happy. I was on cloud nine. It was just the best day ever, I guess, because I never thought that somebody would ask me to prom. I had balloons and flowers and a teddy bear, and I rushed home after school. I started posting everything on Facebook. I was so excited. And my mom came home one that day, and she just kind of looked kind of serious, and I was concerned, but at the same time, it just felt odd. Like she was smiling, but not smiling at the same time. Like she was keeping a secret. She spilled the beans, and she was like, "Well, I found your biological father," and I started to cry. I didn't know what to think. So I started questioning her. I was like, well, how, where, what happened? Did you say anything? And, just. So she told me that on Facebook, he was one of her suggested friends. And within the 2 years difference, because I was 16 when I found out and 18 now when we found him, those 2 years I was just searching and confused, and we didn't know anything about him except his name and that he was Puerto Rican as well. I didn't know how to react. I did not know, because not everybody goes through something like this. So it's kind of like I was half orphan. She told me, she explained that she friend requested him on Facebook, and he added her back, and she sent him a message. That message said, "Something from our past has come up." And that's all she said. Promise you. She told me that. She kind of went through his pictures on Facebook, kind of showed me what he looked like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like looking into a mirror. This dude looks like me. And so the next day I go to school, I'm just in a daze, and she texts me. And she said he responded and he wants to talk to me. Oh boy, what do I say? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? I don't know what to do. I go home and I wait for her to come after work. 9 o'clock rolls around, he calls. She picks up and speaks to him and kind of introduces me and passes me the phone. So I say hello, and after that, it was just like boom, like we were just talking like we'd been best friends for 18 years. And like he's no stranger at all now. I met my little sister from his side, and my stepmom. So it was a very great day. After graduation, I went to go down to live with him because he lived in Orlando. So all these years, for 16 years or 18 years, I'd been living 4 hours away from him, my biological father. So crazy story, right? Anyway, so I went to go live down with them after graduation for the 6 months, and that's when I was coming out of my bulimia stage, and I actually got into the habit of running. And at first, it was difficult because of how large they'd grown, and like I said, by this time they're triple D's now, almost E's. So it was getting really hard to find bras. So I had to settle for the biggest bra I could find, which is Triple D's sports bras. And so things were really tight and uncomfortable, and it's hard to run. And I lived in this new place, and it was uncomfortable for me. I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know anyone. So I stayed there for 6 months, and I had to move back to South Carolina because I just could not do it anymore. It was so different to me, and I was so tired of moving around. It's really annoying and uncomfortable feeling, and it's empty, and you keep having to start over every single time. And so I moved back up to South Carolina, and I lived with a roommate, and I got a job at the mall. And I saw this as an opportunity to venture around to see what my options were for bra shopping. Because, like I said, I was close to an E now, and it was really hard. So I thought, maybe Lane Bryant would help, and I also tried Victoria's Secret. So I went to Lane Bryant first, and Lane Bryant has bras for bigger girls, but for bigger girls. I wasn't a big girl. I was really petite, but with big boobs. So a lot of the things didn't fit me right. They were falling off the back, or they just fell off the front. They weren't supportive. So that didn't help, and their bras were kind of expensive for my taste as well. So I went down to Victoria's Secret, and I had this one of the workers measure me, and I asked her to measure me, and it kind of took her a while because she looked confused. Because as she was measuring me, she was running out of tape or something, or she just long pauses. She didn't know what to say or how to answer. So she came out with, I was a triple D. I knew I wasn't. So she kept offering me these triple D bras. They were like 60, $70 a piece. And I was like, I'm not going to pay this for something that's not going to support me or fit me right. So I walked out. Then I started looking up my options for breast reduction because growing up, I had asked for one when I was 15, when I was supposed to have a quinceañera, which is a 15s for Hispanic culture. Um, I wasn't allowed to have parties at all growing up because the paternal side who raised me didn't believe in parties. So I wasn't allowed parties, but I was allowed pictures. The pictures I will show you later on show what my body looked like at 15. At that time when I was 15, I knew I had big boobs. They were at that time like the double D, triple D size. Freshman year. And so that's when I had first asked for the first time about a breast reduction, and I was quickly denied. So now that I am about 18 years old, 19 years old, I had a good job, so I thought maybe, I could try looking up breast reduction, see how much they cost, maybe, $2,000, $3,000. So I looked them up, and I was looking around Google, see how much people were quoted for my size, and usually they came out to be about $10,000, $13,000. I was like, oh my gosh. I decided to get a better job at 19, 20 years old at a call center to see if I could get better benefits for insurance. And at that time, then I was living with my grandparents. They knew I had a problem because it didn't run in the family, and it was very weird that I was the only one who had such abnormally sized breasts. I was huge compared to anybody in the family. My mom also had large breasts, but not as large as mine were getting, and they just kept increasing. I wasn't getting any taller, I wasn't getting any bigger. I mean, they just were getting bigger and bigger, and it just didn't seem proportionately correct at all. With that being said, I got this job, and I quickly was promoted to a better part at this job, quality analyst. I went from taking phone calls to grading the phone calls, and I thought maybe the pay would get better and the benefits would get better. So my grandmother got the idea that I should see her surgeon. What happened was I scheduled an appointment to go see the surgeon, and I tried to use my insurance. The insurance sucked, so I tried to get a quote without insurance. They measured me. At that time, I want to say like a FG when they measured me. So I was really big. And things were not getting better for me either because I had started developing back pain, very, very bad back pain. And this back pain was also causing a pinched nerve, which this pinched nerve was getting really bad because just at random points in time, if I had done so much um, heavy lifting or just exerted my body too much, it would start to hurt my spine and then pinch this nerve. When this nerve gets pinched, my legs go numb, especially on my right side because that's where the nerve is. And when my legs go numb, I cannot walk. So I would fall constantly. And there was this one time where my mom was in the other room and we're on the second floor of the house, and I was about to go down the stairs. And this nerve just came out of nowhere. This was actually the first time this nerve pinched, and I almost fell down the stairs, and all of a sudden I just started weeping. And my mom rushed to me so quick, and she was like, "What is happening?" I said, "I don't know, but I cannot walk." And she had to help me walk across the hallway into the bedroom that she was at onto the couch so that my body could relax itself before I regained feeling in my legs. So it was getting that bad. I went to go see this surgeon, and they measured me, they talked to me what the process would be, and I went to go see the insurance lady who worked there, and she was the one who explained how the insurance works. So I had to get approved by the insurance because breast reductions are considered cosmetic, and it has to be proven either by a chiropractor or family doctor, or the insurance has to deem it a medical issue. I had her quote me how much it would be without insurance if I just wanted to outright pay for the surgery. And Lord have mercy, I wish I hadn't, because the quote that I was given was $9,066 for my surgery, being an FG. Here, just so you know, I'm not lying to you, there's the quote. And that number I have written beside it is, I asked her if I, outright paid in cash, if, what would it be? And she said it'd just be a savings of $243. So that brought it down to $8,446 with a $2,200 deposit. I didn't have 10 grand on me. There was no way I was going to get it anytime soon. So I ruled that out. So that was my first attempt at getting the surgery, and it didn't work. So that was 2 no's so far. So we got the next idea to see if a chiropractor would refer me for surgery. So we went to schedule the nearest chiropractor that we could find. We found this chiropractor. He seemed pretty good. There was a lot of great reviews. So I went, and I got these x-rays taken. $250 x-rays, and it was like 6 pictures. And it did tell me what was going on with my spine, at least. So my spine was curving 3 different ways that they weren't supposed to. So, for one, my neck and my spine were not aligned anymore. So it had pushed my neck forward while my spine was being pushed backwards. Also, my spine was pinching that nerve because it was twisting a certain way inside of my stomach. And then my hip alignment, one side was higher than the other. I asked the chiropractor, what his thoughts were on referring me to a surgeon for the breast reduction. When I tell you, I was so just in shock at what he said to me. So I asked him, and my grandmother, as my witness, she was there. I asked him that, and he said, I would not refer you for surgery ever. This is what he said. He said, I will take care of you and fix your spine. You do not need surgery. I am not going to refer you. I was so confused. I had to wake myself up again because apparently I had died or something and gone to hell for some reason with this answer. I kept my cool, and I was like, whatever. And so I'm thinking in my head, dude, even if you correct my spine, these things, these monsters on my chest are still going to be there causing the same problem. They will still be there to cause this problem. So I knew right then and there that he was just in it for the money. He just wanted me to pay him every month or every week or every day that I had to come see him. I left, and I never saw that man ever again because he just disgusted me. This job didn't have great benefits either, so I was getting nowhere at all with trying to get this surgery. And by that time, I had just given up. I was just gonna put up with the pain and the pinched nerve and the breathing and everything that comes with having monsters. And so, at this job, I met my husband, my now husband, and I just went along with that. I was trying to just get my life together. I was 20 years old. I just wanted to be happy, at least. Somebody make me happy. Come my 21st birthday, I still have these giant monstrosities, and by that time, they are size I cups. So, 21 years old with I cup breasts. With the I cup breasts come more pain, more consequences to having them. Attract the wrong crowd. Breathing starts to get really hard because there's this weight on top of you. constantly, like, I felt like I needed inhalers all the time. I would have to take um medicines, just random medicines to open my airflow so I could breathe, because even holding them, carrying them, putting them on top of something, just doing anything I could to be able to breathe was really, really hard. And I didn't want to be constantly doped up or um, hurting my body in any way with all these medications, because I was just picking up random ones just to help me breathe. Sleeping also got very hard. I couldn't sleep on my sides because one lopped over the other. I couldn't sleep on my stomach because I would be pushing them really hard and that would hurt. And I couldn't sleep on my back because then the weight would be pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe while I sleep. So I was never getting any sleep. So I would also have to take sleeping pills. My husband at the time also hated them as well. And we had ruled out having kids because of it, because we just didn't want them to get any bigger and cause any more problems. We were scared, we were terrified. And especially for me, I felt like I was dying. I really did. It's not a great feeling at all. The pinched nerve thing had gotten even worse. My back pain was really severe. Like, I was leaning hunched over. I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't work out. I couldn't run. I could barely walk. It was getting really, really, really bad. We just kept moving on with life. In May, he proposed to me, and I was said yes, and everything was going great. We had planned the wedding for November. So from May to November, I was trying to find a way to get this breast reduction going because I really want to fit into a beautiful dress. And I felt like that wasn't going to happen because they were so big. I didn't think any surgeon would operate on them. And my uncle had texted me and he was like, "You need to watch the news right now because there's a story going on about a woman who has size M or N or O or something breast and how she got her breast reduction." And so I tuned in, I watched it, didn't really give me much information, but still helped me out a little bit about her process and that they would still actually operate on you if you have super large breasts. And so I got a little bit of hope. And so what I did is I started a GoFundMe account. Somebody gave me the idea and was like, maybe people will read your story and donate to help you get this breast reduction, get $10,000. So I started the GoFundMe account. I put my story online, like everything verbatim, with not having kids and wanting to fit in a beautiful dress and go on a honeymoon, and what the process was is taking me because I had to be referred because it's considered cosmetic. I needed to be deemed medical. I also went to go see a new family doctor because I didn't have one at all. And so, with this family doctor, she was amazing. She listened to me for everything. She'd never cut me off, and she understood the problem that I was having. And she just took a look at me and understood. And so, she told me she wants to deem it medical for me to get the surgery. She understood the whole process. And so, the only process was that I have to go through all these tests in order for the insurance to believe that it's been proven a medical condition hazardous to my health. So I had to do blood tests, ultrasounds on both boobs and my stomach. I had to do X-rays again. I had to go through just weight tests, and I had to fix my vitamin D deficiency because I wasn't taking care of my body. I had given up on myself. And so we went through all these tests. Took a few months. I was deemed healthy. I just needed the surgery. Everything was fine. I had no cancer cells, nothing. I just needed the surgery. And so she finally brought me back into the office one day, and she was like, "We are going to deem it medically necessary, a hazard to your health, and you are going to be referred for surgery. Who do you want me to send the referral to?" I've only been to one surgeon who referred me the $10,000 was gonna take to get the surgery. So I said, send it to this doctor, and so she did. And I just at that time, right after that happened, I went home. I was so excited that she told me that, and Then I started getting a weird feeling about this surgeon that was going to be operating on me. I just didn't feel like it was right anymore. They quoted me all this money, but for what reason? I mean, it just didn't feel right. Something in my gut told me don't do it. Don't do it. So I didn't do it. But it was getting closer and closer to my wedding, and come July, this GoFundMe account wasn't working out at all. Nobody cared. Nobody read my story. I only raised $240 in 2 months. So nobody was reading it. Nobody was caring. Then one day I was at work and I checked on my GoFundMe account and I received an email. And this email was from a stranger, total stranger. And she said, please contact me. And she left me her email address. And she's like, I want to help you. And I was like, okay. And she also donated $20 to the cause on GoFundMe. And so I emailed her and I said, thank you very much, what's going on? And she was like, I read your story and I definitely want you to be able to have kids and fit in a beautiful wedding dress and go on a honeymoon and have money for all these things and just, fix your life for you. And she said, me and my husband would be more than happy to cover your surgery. I was so confused. I was like, and she told me to text her and she was explaining all of this and she messaged me back. She was like, you probably are wondering why this is happening. And I was like, yeah, I kind of am confused. You don't know me. And she was like, well, by the grace of God, I just want to do this for you because I've had plenty of friends and family who's gone through this as well. And I know what a problem it can cause for one's life. And she just kept explaining that. And she was like, if you want to keep on with the surgeon that you're with right now, I will help you meet your deductible for your insurance and, cover the rest, blah, 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 and help you out. Or your other option is to switch over to our medical facility because she then explained that she is the insurance coordinator at that medical facility and her father is the surgeon. And so I was like, yeah, that's no big deal for me. I mean, where are you at? Like, what are you guys, do you have a website so I can look you guys up and, read on some information? She was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Here it is. And it was only 2 hours away from where I currently live. So I was like, yeah, that's no problem. I can definitely have my husband drive me back and forth and, take me to my appointments and whatever. Because I don't drive, I have a fear of the road, so I don't drive. It's like July or August, and I scheduled an appointment to go see her dad. I haven't met her yet, but I scheduled that appointment. I meet him, and he is just awesome sauce. Like when I tell you, he's just the coolest person, coolest surgeon ever. He didn't even like they put me in this comfortable robe. Like their medical facility is beautiful. It looks like a cathedral. It has the stained glass and it just beautiful and welcoming and comforting. And all the employees there, constant smile on their faces, and they're all beautiful. It was just the perfect place. Like I felt more comfortable there than I did at the other place. I met with him and they put me in this comfy robe and I just felt like it wasn't closing right, like it just they were so big and I just looked down at them and I wanted to cry. He came in and I was like, "Okay, you want to see them?" He was like, "No, hold on. I want to get to know you. Tell me about yourself, talk to me. I want to be friends." Like he was just very, very cool. Finally, he undressed me and he picked them up, he weighed them, he checked for all the blisters that were under them, and he told me about my areola, my nipple, and he drew on me, telling me what would happen. And it was just like normal. Like I didn't care. Like if I was at home and I was naked, like I just didn't care. I was just showing him my boobs. Like, dude, take care of them. He explained the process and he was really cool. And then he just let me go. He just, okay, well, we'll talk. We'll be in contact. And we just need your medical records to be sent over and we can go ahead and take care of you and do the surgery. I was like, okay, so I'm in August and September, October, November. That's what 3 months away my wedding. So I'm like thinking this is a possibility. I'm gonna fit in this beautiful dress. November comes, and I get married, still with big boobs. My wedding sucked, but I got married and I love my husband. November's over. December comes. 2 weeks into December, I get that call, and they were like, "Your transcripts or whatever medical whatever's got transferred over to us finally and we're going to go ahead and submit that to your insurance for the claims for you to get the surgery so that it can be covered. And so all they were sending over is just all of these papers right here. So that's what they needed. I got mailed from my insurance a letter saying that I was denied the surgery. So I was confused. I was like, oh my God, wait, they just called me a couple days ago. And so I called them back and I was like, I just got a denial letter. They said, okay, we'll resubmit the claim. And they resubmitted it. They called me December 23rd, and she called me in the morning and was like, for some reason, your approval letter got returned to sender. Why? They sent me the denial letter. It should be the same address, but I was so happy that I was approved. Like, as soon as I heard approval, I was like, whoa. She was like, yeah, just explaining the process of the surgery and when we could schedule. And I was like, can we schedule for like next week? She was like, no, we can't. That's too soon. We have something open in February. So I'm like, okay, well, at least maybe for my birthday, I'll have flat boobs. I was like, okay, so we'll schedule for February. It was like the February 15th or something. So 10 days before my birthday. And I went on and I was like, okay, February's coming around. A couple days later, I was called back. I was like, okay, what's going on? She was like, well, we can actually get you in sooner. And I was like, what? Really? She was like, yeah, January 26th. I was like, yes, book it. I don't care what time. The surgery day came and I was ready. 6 a.m. had to be there. So I was so tired. We woke up like 4 o'clock in the morning. I got ready, got all my bags and stuff, everything I needed to take. Got my husband ready because that's another process. And so we were off. We went, drove 2 hours, went to this other medical place and got ready for surgery. So he stayed with me the whole time. We got there and we sat on the couch in the waiting room. They asked me if I wanted anything. No, I was just too excited. I couldn't eat or sleep. I'd taken all these medications the night before that they'd given me, and then the ones for the day of that they'd also prescribed for me to help the anesthesiologist. Got up, went to this little back room that they have with a bunch of lockers, and they asked me to just strip naked, put on the robe and the socks that they provide. Once that's done, put everything in the locker. They'll take care of that later. Went into another back room from this back room, and it was just a whole medical facility. It looks like a doctor's office. You know, they're about to operate on you, but it's a waiting room. So anesthesiologists and nurses are just rushing around. It's like 6 a.m. and the surgeon's not there yet. So I'm sitting there, reading magazines, and everybody's talking to me, offering me stuff, getting me ready for the process. And the anesthesiologist injects me in a needle in my arm to help start the process. And then the surgeon finally gets there. He starts drawing on me all these dotted lines and numbers and CCs and everything that, needs to happen. And he makes me look in the mirror. He was like, does everything look okay? And I was like, yeah, everything looks actually perfectly even. So the way he draws it is my breasts were so long that he could draw a map on my boobs altogether. Like, it was just, that's how big they were. And so he draws the line around to the shape where my boobs are going to be cut off. And around the nipple, the line, it's like keyhole shaped under the boob. It's just a lot, like all the way around the sides. So we go into now the operating room, and I lay on this bed thing, and they cover me up with a blanket because I'm stark naked. And the anesthesiologist is trying to find my vein again because my vein keeps playing peekaboo for some reason. And so they stick it in my hand here because I guess this is the second option where veins pop out. And it was still very hard to find my veins. Usually my veins are super easy to find because I give blood every 6 months or so. And I don't know why, for some reason, this one day my vein just decided it's hibernating. But they stuck it in my hand. They finally found a vein that would work. And all of a sudden, the anesthesia starts burning my hand. And it's just really hard to like bend, and it just really hurts. And so I'm laying on the bed like a cross, and I look to my left, and the anesthesiologist is there, and I'm asking him, I was like, is it supposed to burn this much? Because I was freaking out, like, was so nervous. And he said, yeah, that's normal. And boom, I was blacked out. I don't remember anything after what he said. And so apparently the surgery took 7.5 hours. And my husband stuck through the whole time there. He slept in the car for 7.5 hours. Because, like I said, it was 6 a.m. We were so tired. So he stuck with me the full time. And so took 7.5 hours, and I woke up and I was in another room, and all I hear is talking to the right side of me. And it's my husband and a nurse. And all I hear is click, 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 click. So he had my phone and he's taking pictures of me looking like complete blah. And I wake up and there's this throbbing pain on me, like in my boobs, and it's just throbbing and it hurts and I feel bruised and groggy and tired and I feel like total crap. I feel like crap. And so um all of a sudden she asked me, I think, what do I want to drink? I guess to help me wake up. And I just said ginger ale for some reason, but I guess ginger ale helps. Um, so she brings me ginger ale, and my husband asked her, he said, so how much did you take out of her? And oh my God, when he asked that question, she was like, oh, I can show you. She brought out these two big white buckets, and one was labeled right breast, the other one left breast. Okay? And you can kind of see the shadow inside the buckets of how much fat and tissue were in them. But it was just wow. I was in shock. He was in shock. And she was just kind of having a hard time holding them both up. But he took a picture, so I'll show you that also. So it took 4 people to get me to the car because I was still so out of it. I couldn't walk. I couldn't carry myself. I mean, I had to be careful about the bandages and the drains that I had in me. Oh, those drains were a SOB. So we drove off, and I don't remember the ride. Like I said, it's a 2 hour drive. I probably knocked out because I was so groggy. And we got to the house. I live on the second floor, so we had to go up these stairs. I have to be careful not to bounce anything, just because it could, break something, pop a stitch, drains might fall out, something. So I have to be very careful. So I'm grabbing the back of my husband, who is like 6 feet tall, and I'm 5 foot. So this is like, ouch. We go up the stairs and we come in, and I hear my sister out of the side of my ear. She's like, so how'd it go? And all of a sudden she pauses because she sees me, and she's just jaw fell 2 stories because she was so shocked. She's like, oh my God, you're a different person. I'm just like in and out of it. So I barely remember anything else that she says. So we got to the bed and I just passed out. Next morning, these drains, like I said, are an SOB. So they are inside of me, draining any leakage or fluid or anything else that's not supposed to be inside of me after surgery so that it doesn't cause infection. And so with the drains, they're inside of me on the sides where the incision marks were made, and they are poking me on the inside, and it hurts so bad. Like, everyone who ever gets a surgery will have a problem with the drains, I guarantee you. There is no one in the world who can bypass that pain. So I just could not stand it. Something was poking me on the inside on both sides, and we had to go back to the medical center to get them removed. With getting the drains removed was the simplest freaking process I could have ever imagined. So we got there and we told them the situation. They were like, okay, we can remove them. You don't have much drainage anyways. So they took them out. And as the lady is dragging the wire out of me, she's talking to me and she asked me a question. Before I could even answer, both the drains were out. And I was like, well, really? I could have just did that myself, but it hurt so much to even bend my arms, I couldn't even move. So as I was there, mind you, this is the day after surgery, another nurse comes in and she offers me free LEDs, like a 3-time treatment thing of LEDs, that this new process that they're coming out with to express healing. And so what all it does is you lay on a table shirtless, with all bandages off and everything, and you put Argentum 23 on, right? and she puts this other cream on you for the lights. And you just lay there and put these, ultraviolet goggles so you don't damage your eyes. And you just lay there for like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I forget how long it was. And it just flashes red lights, blue lights, and green lights. And the blue light is supposed to express heal, the red light is supposed to prevent scars, and the green one is just supposed to, I don't know. But the LED process is really simple. You just lay there. The lady was talking to me the whole time. The LED process, that was the day after, which was a Tuesday. And then we went back home and I just started my healing process. I sat in bed for like a week and a half, not doing anything except sitting on my tablet and eating a bunch of gummies and drinking apple juice and just in pain. So, after a couple days, after two LED processes and putting on unpetroleum jelly, because this stuff works wonders. Also, the day that I left that LED treatment the first time, they asked me to buy this gel, so biocornium gel. This helps the scars go away a lot faster and also protects them from any ultraviolet rays from the sun if you go outside. It's for scar supervision, is what it says on the bottle. And this cost me like $25, I think. And it's been 6 months, and I still have this stuff. A couple days after, they told me not to buy bras for 6 months, and all I could wear like t-shirts or tank tops, or like a sports bra, maybe something that clips in the front to at least hold them together but not press on them or support them, so I'm not damaging any of the work that was done. So I put on a tank top one time, and I decided to go in the mirror and take a picture because I had a picture already of my before, but I needed one for the after. And since the boobs right now were feeling okay for me to move around and put something on over them, because for the past week and a half I'd been shirtless with all these bandages and stuff. And also post some pictures, that way you guys can see what the drains look like, what the bandages look like, and also the before and after picture that I took. So with the healing process, I mean, the stitches that they put in, they start to untie themselves and fall out naturally, as the scars begin to close. And as long as you keep reapplying at least 2 to 3 times a day, all those creams on the scars is perfectly fine. You'll be healed in no time. It took me 2 weeks to heal. Um, the only thing is I still have scars in the back from when they cut me because it's very hard to get all these creams back there, but I can live with it. That's fine. But everything else, the boobs look perfect. They're even, equal, whatever you want to say. Um, but they are perfect. They look like supermodel boobs. But I'm not going to show you. Um, so with the healing process, it took 2 weeks. I went back to work and everyone was just surprised. They were like, I look like a whole different kind of person. I looked normal. When somebody told me I looked normal, I was the happiest person ever, because that's all I ever wanted to be, was normal. I didn't want to be um, this just giant boobed little short Puerto Rican girl who men ogled because I had big boobs, and I never wanted that. That's not something I ever wanted. I wouldn't wish this life upon anybody at all. So, I mean, just from here on out, it's just been great. Like, my attitude has become so much better, because I used to be so angry with myself that I would take it out on my husband. And I regret that because I do love my husband very much, and I never meant to do any of that, because he didn't cause that. So it's not his fault. But I just want to, let you know that your attitude can change because of one little thing, um, because of pain that is being caused to you that you can't help. You're going to release it somehow. The breathing, as soon as I healed up, the breathing was so much better. I could breathe normally, naturally. I could move around. I could run. I could jump. I could climb things. I could go to the gym. I mean, everything was just perfect. My life felt normal. Things I couldn't do before, I could do now. So shopping for clothes was a lot easier. Trust me, I went shopping like crazy. After I healed up, I bought lingerie, smaller size clothes. Everything was a lot better. It's been 6 months now since my surgery. My husband and I were so much happier. We've put kids back into the mix, so we are planning on having kids sometime in the future. Um, I'm just the only worry I have about that part is my future daughters. If I, have daughters or how many I have, I worry that they are going to have the same problem I did. And I don't want them to go through the same process I had to go through. So if any of you have any advice on that, I'd love to hear it. That's the only worry that I have. Um, as for the boobs growing back, or things that happens with boobs, that's natural. Especially with pregnancies, of course they're going to get bigger because of the milk. If you don't support your boobs after surgery, they are going to droop a little, but that's normal as well. That just depends on your how you take care of them and stuff like that. The scars, like I said, they're practically gone. They're invisible. My boobs just look normal and awesome. No blisters at all. Like, everything feels fine. They're going to feel hard at first after the first few months of surgery. They're just going to feel like rocks. But then they start to soften a little bit more after a while. Boobs are boobs, guys. So don't ever tell a woman that she should not get the surgery just because you think her boobs are great being as big as they are, because I had that happen to me a lot. And trust me when I tell you, you are not doing the right thing for anyone in your case. Do not tell a woman that she doesn't need the surgery because big boobs are great and they're fun bags or hot air balloons or watermelons or bowling balls, whatever you want to call them. If she wants to go through with the surgery, you support her every step of the way, because that's not fair to her that just for you she has to keep these things that pain her. That is not fair at all. So just wanted to FYI that out there, to all the men who think boobs are just so cool if they're super huge. They're not. If you had to carry around these giant weights on your front, your back, your belly, your head, then you do that. But don't force someone to do it for you if, you're not getting caused any pain. That's not fair at all. People said that to me so many times. I had people walk up to me in grocery stores or in malls and just tell me, like, just look down my shirt. Like, really? I am standing right here. I am a person. Okay? I have feelings too. So I just want to throw that out there, that if anyone ever tells you not to do the surgery, ladies, do it. Do it for you. Don't do it because somebody else is forcing you to do it. If you don't want to do it, or if you do want to do it, that decision is all on you. Also, people need to be more considerate of people who have bigger assets than other people, because, like I said before, words do hurt. And these people didn't know that they were hurting me, and maybe they still don't even know it to this day. I haven't received any apologies, nothing like that, and I don't expect any. But I just want them to know for future reference that words do hurt and they need to watch out. Because even if somebody rolls with the punches, that's still punching them. Okay? So I just wanted to go over the process. If you have any questions, thoughts, anything like that, feel free to leave me a message. Send me a link to anything that you want me to see. Before or afters, I'll definitely listen to you if you have a story as well. You can follow me on Instagram at bjazzle_dazzled, and I'll leave the links below as well. So if you have anything you want to say, I'll listen. I've got your back all the way. So, girls need to stick together, and that's it, I guess. So, this is Jazz signing off. Bye, guys. So I also wanted to add on that when I was in sixth, seventh, eighth grade, and some of high school, the appearance that I portrayed wasn't as great either, because being raised by a paternal unit as opposed to a maternal unit, my sense of style, taking care of myself, everything was just wrong. And I was, like I said, very tomboyish, and I wore baggy clothes, boy clothes. Um, Makeup wasn't my forte at that time, and I didn't have very much help. I was very sheltered and didn't have a maternal unit around or a sister. Everyone was gone from me, so um, my image didn't help the fact that I was bullied or taunted, tortured, teased, whatever T words you can come up with. Um, so I just wanted to throw that in there, that it wasn't fair to me. I wasn't given a chance. I mean, some of my clothes had holes in them. I wasn't rich. I didn't have money. I was a teenager and nobody cared about me. I wasn't being taken care of. So So thanks again, guys, for watching this video. If you need me to make any other kind of videos, just let me know. Um, I'm more than happy to do so, and I can have them up as quickly as possible. If you need me to answer any questions, um, drop some GoFundMe's down below in the comments, and maybe I can help out, because that's all I ever wanted somebody to do for me. So if you're in the same boat, just let me know.